Hi everyone, welcome. Today I want to talk to you all a little bit about stocks and broths. Stocks and broths are common ingredients in things like soups and sauces and gravies, and they can also help to elevate grains. So if you boil your rice in a stock or a broth instead of water, obviously that's going to impart more flavor and more seasoning. But if you go shopping for a stock or a broth, you will quickly realize that there's probably about half of a grocery aisle with all kinds of options: stocks, broths, bouillons, low sodium, no sodium, regular chicken, beef, vegetable. There's so many options, it can be overwhelming. And so I just want to talk to you a little bit about the difference between stocks and broths and answer the question of whether or not they're interchangeable. If a recipe calls for a stock, can you use a broth? Um, Explore this topic just a little bit more. So first we have stocks. Stocks are made by boiling bones, sometimes with vegetables, sometimes by themselves, but by boiling chicken bones or beef bones, the bones start to release collagen. And so what that does is it creates a liquid that starts to be a little gelatinous. So the mouthfeel has a little bit more body. Sometimes it feels a little thicker or silkier. And that's why stocks are great bases for gravies and sauces. In a broth, instead of boiling bones, you boil the meat with vegetables and seasonings. And so what you get is a much lighter flavor. And that is why broths are often very good in soups. And then you have bone broth. And bone broth is kind of not an accurate term because obviously since it's made with bones, it's actually a stock. But in a bone broth, oftentimes an acid such as apple cider vinegar or lemon juice will be used to help really start to extract the collagen and the protein from the bones. It's usually boiled for a lot longer than a stock to really start to pull out the proteins and the nutrients from those bones. And because of that, a bone broth is probably the highest of all of them in terms of protein content and is very nutrient dense. And then another option is bouillon. Bouillon is basically dehydrated stock. So it's in a powder format. You can see it's more like a dry seasoning. And it is designed to basically turn into a stock when you add it to hot water. It dissolves in hot water, and then you basically have a stock. It comes in powder, it comes in cubes, and it also comes in pastes. So the big question, are they interchangeable? And I think if I was a professional chef, I might have a different opinion, but as a home cook, I'm going to say yes. I think that they are completely interchangeable. You just have to be aware of the fact that they've got different textures and they've got different seasoning levels. So yes, you can interchange them, but now that you know what the differences are between them, you can make a good choice in if you want to interchange them or not. And the one that I usually reach for is the bouillon. And I'll tell you why this is usually my liquid gold of choice. First of all, it is shelf stable. So unfortunately, it does have preservatives in it. It's obviously quite processed to go from a liquid stock to a powder format, but it doesn't go bad. The expiration date on this is a lot longer than this. And so I always have it in my pantry. I don't have to even think about it. It's just a staple that I always have on hand. There's also less waste with this. So this carton of stock has 4 cups in it. Just the other day, I made a recipe as an example that called for 5 cups of stock. So this is 4 cups. Do I buy a whole other carton for that additional cup and then just waste the other 3 cups? Because chances are I'm probably not going to use it. And once this is open, it doesn't last for much longer in the fridge. With this, I can make exactly the number of cups that I need. I basically add 1 teaspoon of this for every cup and a half of hot water, and I can make exactly the amount of stock that I need. Another reason that I tend to lean towards bouillon is the cost savings. The stock costs about 78 cents per cup, and the bouillon, I can make 300 cups with this container. That comes out to about 2 cents per cup. And then flavor-wise, I prefer the bouillon. I think that bouillon has a much deeper and more intense flavor, which I like. And this allows me to be so much more in control of the flavor too. So if I really, really want a deep, intense flavor from this, instead of adding 1 teaspoon to every 1.5 cups of water, like the instructions dictate, maybe I'll do 1 teaspoon for every 1 cup of water. And that way I can get a deeper, richer flavor. Or maybe I use less bouillon to more water, just depending on what I want. So I feel like this provides me a lot more flexibility in the depth of flavor that I want to add as well. So honestly, when I decided to do this video, I actually did not know all that much about stocks and broths and all of the differences. And so I did some research and I learned quite a bit making this video as well. Hopefully that clears up some of the mystery between the differences between stocks and broths and bouillons and helps you make better decisions in your own kitchen. I really hope that you enjoyed this YouTube video. If you did, please give it a like, share it with people, and let me know what other things you want to learn about. Is there an ingredient that you always wonder about or have questions about? Let me know. I will do some research. I will tell you what I know, and we can learn together. So I hope to see you next time.